Hello everyone, and welcome back to Cosy Reads. I hope you've all been keeping well. Now, I hope that you've all been enjoying our new series, which is actually based on a story universe that I've been creating, known as the Regalian universe. My main goal with this universe is to create varying stories that are set in the same verse, from the Regalian mainline book series, with book 1 being out on Amazon already, link in the description, so please feel free to check that out if ever you get the chance, to short stories created and told on YouTube. So I hope you all enjoy this smooth ride that will be going on. Make sure to get yourself comfortable, grab a warm drink if you need it, and close your eyes if that makes you feel more comfortable, as we get ready to listen to part 2 of The Tale of the Beginning. In the last video, we learned of the first ones, with us mainly following Malakoth, the oldest first one. The first ones were beings who appeared before everything else, and whose purpose was to wander. At least, that was their purpose initially. Following Malakoth's discovery of planetary life, his initial curiosity and benevolence was corrupted into malice, paranoia, and an overwhelming desire to control everything. Malakoth had experienced an early form of the cardinal sins, releasing this sin to life as we know it, corrupting universal life into a less than perfect form of its original iteration. As Malakoth left to consolidate his power, he knew that he would need to convert some of his brothers and sisters to his way of thinking. By doing so, he could lead them, show them how to use their power properly. They were the first ones after all. They came before everything, and so they needed to show the universe who was in charge. But of course, Malakoth was not content with sharing this power with his fellow First Ones. He wanted to rule everything, including his own people, in whatever way that was. While Malakoth made his way to the corners of the universe to find his brothers and sisters, his followers prayed to him. They knew not why he left them. Did they do something wrong? Were their sacrifices not good enough? Why would their deity forsake them and leave them? His followers prayed and prayed, but they had no answers. As time went on, new generations of people came into existence. For the first ones, time was not a relevant concept for them, as it did not affect them in the way it affected mortals. The first ones knew of time, but other than that, they paid it no mind. The mortals, however, for them time was one of the key factors of their existence. They were all beholden to it, and at the mercy of its whims. Because of this, while the first ones may have only crossed the solar system, generations upon generations of mortals would have been born, lived, and died. As these new generations came about, they started to deviate from the praise of Malakoth. Their god had not come back to them, even after all their praying, all their parents and grandparents and great-grandparents praying. Still, their deity would not return. They grew tired of waiting for the deity to come and bless them with bountiful harvests and clean water. And so, the young generation took it upon themselves to save their way of life. They created technologies that allowed them to do the work of 10 men with only one. And in doing so, they raised the quality of living of their people, valuing technology over worship of a flaky deity. Certain sects of young ones even started to turn on Malakoth, cursing his name and showing how they no longer needed him. But Malakoth was still nowhere to be found, as he was still amassing his first one followers. He had already convinced some to follow him, and now he had a good amount of first ones at his beck and call. This was the power he sought. To be able to stand atop his fellow First Ones as not an equal, but as better than. Now, while Malakoth was amassing his army, he could hear the prayers of his people, but he did not help them. He wanted to show them how dependent they were on him, that without him, they could not live. He had seen the new rebellion, technology, they were calling it. Bah! Give them a bit of time, and they will burn themselves to the ground thanks to this technology. He would give his people a chance to prove their loyalty to him, by no longer calling him a false idol, and by denouncing this technology. Until then, he would keep amassing his army. Now, while all this was happening, there were other First Ones discovering life on their own, and in observing mortal life, they learned things such as love, compassion, kindness, and support. They learned what it meant to love someone wholeheartedly and unconditionally. And so, some of the First Ones wanted to explore these emotions and feelings, taking us to the first couple in the First Ones, creating the earliest form of marriage and union. These two first ones started to learn of what Malakoth was doing, and as they worried for their love and for the safety and freedom of their fellow first ones, they knew they had to do something to make a stand against Malakoth. And with that, we finished part 2 of this epic tale. I hope you all enjoyed part 2 of this original story, and feel free to leave a like on what you think of the series so far. What are your thoughts on Malakoth and his descent into corruption? And what are your interpretations of the first couple in the first ones? I do plan on doing regular uploads of this series, so please feel free to come back again when you're ready to see part 3. But until then, as always, I hope that you're sufficiently warmed up and that this story has brought you some level of comfort. I wish you safe travels on the journey of life, and feel free to come back again when you need a new story to warm your day.